Hello everyone and welcome to the RV Inspection and Care channel. I'm Dwayne. I'm a certified RV inspector, and today we're going to be talking about how you can protect yourself when buying from an RV dealer. And this is especially true in light of a disturbing trend that's sort of going on in the RV dealer industry, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But first of all, let's mention that RV dealers are a very essential part of the RV buying experience. For many, it makes things so convenient, so easy. You know, you can go to that dealer and you can find your RV, you get everything all in one place, maybe even your financing, your warranty, all of that in one place, and you really can get it all done quickly and easily. And that's a good thing. However, RV dealers also come with a little bit of a warning. You know, there's some things you need to know about them too. So we're going to talk about that today. And before I begin, let me say this. I don't want to lump all RV dealers in under one big bad umbrella. It's just not true. There's some very good RV dealers out there that are very concerned about you as a customer. They want to treat you right. They want you to have a good customer experience and so on. Unfortunately, that's not always the case, and there are quite a few RV dealers that are not customer oriented, and that's sad to say. They're a little more focused on their own bottom line than they are on your customer experience. So now, if you're buying a new RV from one of these dealers, or really any RV dealer, the first thing you've got to understand is that, you know, if you have issues with that new RV, it's not really just the dealer's fault. As I've mentioned before in some of my previous videos, the sad truth is that in this industry, manufacturers, and again, this is not all manufacturers, I don't want to lump all manufacturers in under one bad umbrella either, because some manufacturers are really working hard to do the right thing. But there's many manufacturers in the RV industry whose quality control is not really what it should be. You know, we keep hoping it'll get better, but there's just a disturbing trend here in it not seeming to improve from year to year. So it appears that maybe some of these manufacturers have come to a decision. I can't say this for sure, but it seems like they have decided that it's actually cheaper on them to just send RVs off the line, off the assembly line with issues, and then fix them later on, rather than imposing really good quality control guidelines on the assembly lines before they go out the door. So what happens then? Well, we have a lot of RVs going out of manufacturers to the dealer, and they have issues. And it's just a well-known issue in the industry. So now it comes to the dealer. Well, what does the dealer do with these new RVs from the manufacturer? Well, they're going to tell you that they do a great PDI job. And PDI means pre-delivery inspection. And they're going to tell you that, oh, they go through this, 200, 300,000 point inspection before you get the RV. The sad truth is that often does not happen the way they proclaim. So when you buy your RV from the dealer, it has left the factory with issues. If the dealer hasn't really imposed good PDI guidelines before it goes out the door, now you have this RV that has issues, and you're going to take it out, and you're going to go on your first camping trip and be very excited, and suddenly you're going to find, wait a minute, it has all these issues. And so you make your list of things and you go back to the dealer and you tell them, hey, you know, this needs to be fixed. And now let me say this. to the most dealers' credit, they are going to fix those issues. I don't hear a lot of people say that it doesn't get fixed. But unfortunately, you're going to go through a very frustrating process before it does get fixed. And here's what generally will happen in many cases. Because you have taken delivery of that RV, well, they have no real financial incentive to really get you in quickly and get you out. And of course, they're selling tons of RVs. There's lots of RVs that need repairs. So you go to the back of the line, for their service department. So what happens is it's often weeks or months before your RV gets all those issues that you gave them fixed. So now you get it back and you're excited you're going to go back out again. Finally, you've got a good RV, right? And unfortunately, many times that's not the case. There are even more issues that become apparent later on. And now you've got another list to go back to the dealer with. Why? Because they still haven't done a really good pre-delivery inspection or any kind of inspection to notice and note all of the problems on the RV. They just fix what you find. So now you bring it back, you go through the same process again. You go back to the back of the line, and finally they work you through their service department. You get it back. This can be repeated many times. Unfortunately, I've heard of people buying new RVs that go through this process for a year or longer. And sure enough, they get things fixed under warranty. I'm not saying the manufacturers don't fix these issues or the dealers don't take care of them. Some are better than others, but usually it does get taken care of. But think of all the frustration, the time, the energy from you having to bring this back over and over and not having the RV that you really paid for until maybe a year or a year and a half down line. Now, all of this comes back to one simple thing: not good inspection processes being done by the RV dealers themselves. And of course, the original problem is the quality control problem at the manufacturer. So apparently what seems to be the issue too is that dealers have sort of caught on that their service department can become a real profit center for the dealer in these situations. See, because the service department, all the work they do under warranty, they're getting paid for. If it's a used RV that you bought instead of a new RV, well, then they're probably going to be repairing, and you're footing the bill for it. So the service department becomes very valuable, a great profit center there in the dealership. So clearly, who are the ones that are suffering in this scenario? Well, it's not the manufacturers, because the manufacturers are selling RVs as fast as they can put them out there. It's not really the dealers, because the dealers are selling them as quickly as they hit the lot. It's the consumer. It's the RVer. It's you that takes it on the chin with lack of customer service in this area, because you're the one being put out. You're the one who doesn't get the product you pay for until months or even more than a year down the line. Now, here's the question. How then do you protect yourself from this kind of situation happening to you and being really a victim of this whole process? How do you stop that? Well, I've made some comments before about this, and I feel very strongly that nobody should have to buy an RV that has hidden issues and problems. I just don't believe it's necessary if the buying public is educated and knows what to do. And unfortunately, many RV buyers really don't know. They're just going through the process blindly. But I wrote an ebook guide on this subject. It's called How to Avoid Buying an RV Money Pit. In the guide, I teach how to find the right RV for you, what you're looking for, how to establish which RV is going to fit your camping style and your travel style best. And then I also teach how for each buyer to be able to do a pre-inspection on that RV, on each RV that they see. Now, this pre-inspection can be done by anybody. You don't have to be a previous RVer. You don't have to have any special tools or abilities or anything. But if you follow the checklist I provide and the guidance I provide in that ebook guide, well, then you will know what RVs are worthy of your consideration and which ones you can just weed out. And you don't have to be wasting a lot of time with RVs that really you shouldn't even be looking at in the first place. But now, the guide is good, and I do recommend it highly, but I do not believe that the guide should supplant an inspection by a certified RV inspector. I really believe that that is still necessary. See, what the guide helps you do is make sure you don't call in an inspector until it's an RV that's really worthy of consideration. You don't waste money that way inspecting RVs that should never be considered in the first place. So now you call in the certified RV inspector. That inspector goes through and he will come out with a list, and the list will be sometimes quite extensive, sometimes not so much, but it will be very clear what needs to be given attention on that RV. So now you have a list. You go to the RV dealer and hand them the list, and you tell them you love this RV, you'd love to have it, but you won't take delivery until all these items are covered and taken care of. Well, you know what happens then? Instead of going to the back of the line, you now suddenly go to the front of the line because the dealer wants that RV sold. So they're going to put you in the front of the line. They're going to get all those things fixed all at once before you take delivery, before you go on your first camping trip. And now you get the RV that you deserve right off the bat. You're not waiting months or years down the line to get it. You get it right then. So this is a way that you can put all the risk on your side. You are essentially weeding out the problem RVs and focusing in on those that will be best for you. Now remember that certified RV inspectors work for you. See, there's the problem. If the dealer tries to tell you that, oh, we do a great PDI, well, that's like the fox guarding the hen house. They have the incentive not to do such a great PDI beforehand. But when you call in an RV inspector, they're hired by you. So they're working for you, and they're going to be looking for things to protect their customer, and that's you. So it puts the odds on your side instead. Now, here we are. We're going to get to the disturbing trend that I mentioned earlier. I know it's taken a while, but I wanted to lay the groundwork for this. There's a disturbing trend among some RV dealers now to deny RV inspections on RVs that's on their lot. Now, why? Why would a dealer want to do that? Well, how does that help the customer? Everybody knows, especially with new RVs, that quality control is not what it should be. So recognizing that, wouldn't they want their customers to get the very best product? And if it calls for a certified RV inspector to come in and verify that it's in good shape or find the issues and have them fixed, wouldn't that be the best for the customer? So if a dealer is denying you the opportunity to have an RV inspection, the question comes, what kind of dealer is this? Is this really someone that you should be doing business with? Well, I can't answer that. Honestly, I can't answer that for you. Everybody has to make their own decision in these regards. But I can tell you what I would do. If I were to try to do business with an RV dealer and that dealer denied me the opportunity to go through and inspect an RV that I'm considering from top to bottom and make sure what kind of shape it's in, well, then that RV dealer will see the back of me going out the door, and I would not be back. That's the way I would handle that situation. Now, why is that a good thing to do? Well, see, my friends, too many RVers have not done this. They've given in to the dealer. They've let the dealer set the terms on all of the buying process. And as a result, the internet is filled with complaints about customer service, things that have happened to them as a result of the buying process that they weren't happy about. So if you don't want that to happen to you, I recommend that you consider seriously what I'm talking about today to protect yourself. Also consider this: dealers and manufacturers are never going to change until they have to. Until the tide is so swiftly against them that it's too hard to resist. So if more and more people decide, I'm not buying from you if you don't allow me to verify that this is a top quality product, well, if enough people do that, you'll see some changes. There will definitely be some different processes that will go into effect at that point. But the more that dealers are allowed to impose these rules on customers, restricting their ability to get a quality RV, well, then the more it hurts the consumer, you, the RV buyer. Well, my friends, let me say this. Buying an RV is a serious financial commitment. I mean, they usually cost more than your car. They're probably the second biggest purchase that you're going to make behind your house. Some of them are very expensive. So we're not talking about just a few dollars here. This is important information. You need to protect yourself when going through the buying process, especially at RV dealers. So hopefully what I have covered in this video today will give you a guideline on things you can consider about the buying process and what might work well for you. Make sure you do protect yourself, my friends, as you go through this process. If you do, and if you work hard to make sure that you don't allow the dealer to take away your right to a quality product, then you will get the product, the RV that you deserve, the one that you're paying for. And that will be the one that you will enjoy so many adventures and so much fun in. And you can really enjoy it because you're not dealing with all these problems that have come about because of the buying process. Well, that's it for now. Have safe and happy travels, my friends. Until next time.